What's up? This is your host, Non-Fungible TC, Non-Fungible Today and Non-Fungible Tomorrow. And this week, brace yourself, guys. It is definitely gonna be a very volatile week. First of all, we have the FOMC meeting where we're gonna know whether the Feds are gonna increase the rate hikes by 75 basis points or even higher, 100 basis points. And at the same time, we have a lot of Nasdaq related companies earning reports that are coming out in this week. And also, the US GDP is coming out for Q2 on the 28th. But there are some news from the White House press release that makes it sound a little bit concerning. So without further ado, let us talk about the topic for today. A while back, I covered that a lot of tech companies are doing something called the Metaverse Standard Forum, where they band together to talk about interoperable standards, right, and also building the open metaverse. But one of the biggest problems is that a lot of Web3 companies weren't really involved in this forum. So guess what? They decided to create their own, DAO, right? So in the true Web3, language, they decide to create a DAO, which is called the OMA3, which we're gonna have a look. It is actually called the Open Metaverse Alliance for Web3. So it is very Web3 driven, okay? So it's a collaboration of Web3 metaverse platform creators. Our goal is to ensure virtual land, digital asset ideas, and services are highly interoperable between platforms and transparent to all communities. This organization or this DAO is open to all three Web3 metaverse builder, right? So their goal is to make a community-one, decentralized, and indexable DAO, where users will be able to own and use the digital asset like NFTs, identity, and personal data in a fictionless way across multiple platforms. Hey, Crypto Bruto, I'm good. Thank you for tuning in. We'll definitely share more about the market. Welcome. So where users are in control of the asset, not platform owners, where ideas and services are based on the foundation of decentralization and interoperability to optimize individual freedom, socioeconomic, and other sustainable outcome. So if you've been watching my channel, you know that I've been critiquing Web3 metaverse. What I was saying is that Web2 tech companies are entering the space, but Web3 companies haven't really talked about open standards, right? Besides the NFT ERC 721 or 1155 standard, they haven't really communicated with each other. Like, how can a Vox art from maybe Crypto Voxel be moved to Sandbox, right? There's no that interoperability discussion in the past, but now it seems like this is going to change. Their principle is interoperability, standardization, ownership, right? And it is a DAO that operates like a consortium. Some of the projects include interoperability protocol. So as a landowner or as someone involved in this space, basically what it means that probably the organizations or platform under this DAO might work together to create where you can move your NFTs across the different platforms. So that would be exciting to see, right? And that is where we truly have this interoperability and open metaverse, cross-platform standard. For example, NFTs, transferable metaverse identity. So I think, would that be related to a ENS, or would that be related to like a username that could be transferred as an NFT for several platforms? We'll have to see. Defining and promoting decentralization and ownership rights in the metaverse, portal between world, mapping, indexing, and wrapping. So basically, in the future, there's a chance where inside the world, you can actually teleport from one world to another. So that would be super exciting. So let us look at the members, right? Definitely, this is headed by Animoca Brands, right? I think this is headed by Animoca Brands, but they are, listed number 1, right? And then you have Alien World, which is the game on Rax blockchain. You have Dapper Lab, which is also big, the one behind CryptoPunk. You have Decentraland. Okay, that's great. You have Decentraland Games. You have Metaverse, Base, Super World, Sandbox, Upland, Voxel, with 50. Okay, so right now only 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 members, but these are major players. We have yet to see our Salmon Space be part of this DAO. So we'll have to see, right? Because right now you already see 2 Animoca related presence, right? Animoca Brands and Sandbox, right? This is basically one single entity. At the same time, at Decentraland, Voxel. So it's great that they're trying to finally come together to create the first step, right? Because they have been using decentralization, NFT, true ownership as a catchphrase, but they haven't really used the slogan to their advantage, right? So what they're planning to do is that basically they want to, governance is guided by principles of inclusiveness, transparency, and decentralization. They want to create standards for true ownership and real interoperability, right? So we want to build infrastructures that Metaverse operates as a unified system where digital asset like NFT, identity, and data permissionless, interoperable for all, and controlled by users, not platform. So this is all we have right now. but it's a great start, and also we see the members that are involved here, so we'll have to see. But to be honest, it pales a little bit compared to the Metaverse standard form, where you have a lot of big tech companies and a lot of fundamental related like a lot of infrastructural companies, right? It kind of pairs this way. But I saw a news article saying that the OMA is actually going to join this as well. So we have yet to see how everything will work together, right? Okay, so moving on to our traditional news for the day. As I said, pretty volatile week that we expect. Because look at this, right? This week we have earnings report from Whirlpool. Okay, and then Tuesday you have UPS, Coca-Cola, General Motors, McDonald's, Alphabet, which is Google, Microsoft, Visa, Chipotle. Wednesday you have Shopify, Bowling, Spotify, Meta, Ford, Qualcomm. So basically on Thursday you also have Apple, Amazon, Intel, ExxonMobil, Chevron, right? So what it means is that so far cryptocurrency has been trading with the Nasdaq, right? If you notice that the Bitcoin is trading in relationship with the Nasdaq. So what happened is that a lot of these companies are part of the Nasdaq, and when they start announcing the result, if it's positive, the Nasdaq goes up, right? If it's negative, it goes down. So I would say that there would be a lot of volatility for this month, and not only that, the Feds are moving on Tuesday and Thursday this week, so we'll have to see on Thursday probably to announce if they're going to raise interest rate by 75 basis points. And think about it, if they raise it by 100 basis points, it means it's above expectation, which could cause further downside for the market, right? Because if we look at the crypto market cap, right now we are at 1.01 trillion. So we went down by 0.05 trillion, right? Before a week ago, we were at 1.06 trillion. And we look at this, right? During the weekend, basically what happened in 15 minutes crypto, let's say 30 minutes, right? You know, the Bitcoin was rallying back up all here, you know, trying to break through the 23,000, okay? During the weekend, right? We see that, right? We were trying to break through, but then this morning it kind of slumped pretty much, right? I guess the reason for that is that we have been rallying quite a bit. Traders want to take profit to wait on the sidelines and see how the FOMC meeting would go. But at the same time, if you look at this, right, what will happen at the same time is that on the 28th, you know, the Q2 report result will come out, right? So basically what happened is that the July 28th announcement of Q2 GDP would come out, right? So we already have articles saying that does not mean recession. And the reason for this is that if you notice closely, the White House issued a press release, right? They're saying that in case you miss it, Treasury Secretary Yellen says U.S. economy not in recession, right? So this was posted yesterday, right? So the GDP, you know, debunks misconception that is exclusively based on GDP, points to historically strong labor market and solid consumer spending. So according to this article, they're saying that, okay, the labor market is strong, people are spending money, so that's why we are not in a recession, right? But the biggest problem right now is that, you know, GDP number is one that people see, right? The logic is that if the GDP numbers is negative for 2 consecutive quarters, right? If the technical definition is 2 quarters of contraction, you're saying that it's not a recession, right? So the GDP, if you have 2 quarters of contraction, right? Which means that if the GDP is negative in the US for 2 quarters, it is technically defined as a recession. And once you have recession, it is a very bearish word that happens in the headlines, right? So, but what happened is that, you know, as she explains, the technical and actual definition of a recession takes into account of a broad range of data and states that this is not an economy that is in recession, right? So what it's trying to say is that, and how to interpret the initial reading of second quarter GDP being announced this week. So right now it hasn't been announced, right? There's 3 more days until it's being announced. But the reason why, this is speculation, not financial advice, is that I think the White House is trying to manage expectation. They don't want to see a crash, right? They want to manage your expectation, saying that, hey, if the GDP numbers does come out and if it's negative, right? It still doesn't mean that we're in a recession, right? So calm your horses, don't be worried, blah, 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 that type of stuff. So it shows that there's a huge chance that the GDP index is already a negative, right? For the second consecutive quarter. So definitely be careful, guys. I think one of the reasons this morning the market dumped is because this article came out. I think one of the reasons was because of this, right? So crypto market cap, we were talking about crypto market cap, a 1.01 trillion, a 3.4% decrease. Look at you know, stable coins decrease, so it means that overall market money have left, red day today, definitely some second double digit red at the same time. Crypto market cap, it was rallying sideways, slowly trending down. Bitcoin dominance, look at this, right? Look at this. This is Ethereum, right? Bitcoin dominance right now at 42, went down a little bit. Ethereum dominance has been going up, right? We look at this, right? Look at 5 days, you can't really see anything, but maybe 3 months, yeah, you see a upward take. So here's what people would say, right? So the FOMC is gonna have a meeting this month, and the next meeting is actually in September because they're gonna go to the holiday, right? So what people were speculating is that Ethereum 2.0 is going to come out in September 19. So there's a chance that all of these volatile movement, after this week, after all the earnings report, we'll have a time of peace. We'll have a time of less volatility. So people were speculating that this could be the relief rally that we're waiting for, right? But at the same time, people were speculating that Ethereum 2.0, people are going to sell, right? The stick Ether is going to be sold. But what they do not know is that stick Ether, would be released in batch, right? It wouldn't be released immediately where people will dump it, right? So, no, I haven't forgot. Oh, yes, I forgot the transition. Sorry. Okay. So here we are. Here's the transition. I was too into what I wanted to say. But what people do not know, or people who do not really pay attention to this space, is that Ethereum stick Ether isn't released immediately when 2.0 comes. It's released batch by batch, block by block, right? So it will reduce the selling pressure. But the question I have right now is that the market is dominated by psychology, right? The market is dominated by emotions. People don't really fact check if you really look at it, right? Do you think the market in general would have a bearish outlook for Ethereum 2.0 after September 19, right? Before that, everything is bullish. Oh yeah, we have the new upgrade coming up. Buy. Price will go up. But after September 19, do you think people would really care about, Ethereum 2.0 is going to slowly release the stake Ether, right? Personally, I think that this might be a buy the rumor, sell the news event, right? That's why we saw the rally once the day came up, and that's why we saw all of this rally at the same time. While the market has been bottomed so much that it allows the crypto market to rally. So as always 50-50. I can't promise you that, but I could promise you that in between August, after this week, to September 19th, we will have some peacefulness. We won't have any FOMC meeting at the same time. But I'm not sure if the ECB, the European Central Bank, is going to do a meeting to raise interest rate as well for August. We'll have to see. But then we'll have some peace. Okay, that's the traditional market for you. So this week, lots of earning reports. Okay, FOMC meeting, Q2 data, which is unlikely to look good. So all of this will affect the market in general. Okay. So on-chain data, to be honest, it's really hard to see much on-chain data. I think in general, it's pretty much the same. Exchange reserve is always down for Ethereum right now. People are bullish. People are buying and withdrawing it. You see this dump, of the exchange reserve. But at the same time, exchange net flow. Let's look at this. These are huge removal of Ethereum from the market, right? So basically people are buying Ethereum and moving out of exchanges. So that's the bullish factor that I was talking about. But it doesn't mean that the market isn't going to be volatile, because remember, you cannot fight the market, right? If the traditional market is going downhill really fast, really volatile, the crypto market can't escape from that, because crypto is regarded as a more risky asset, and you have institutional money, right? If you have institutional money, traditional market would definitely affect this, right? Especially when retail has been shaking out quite a bit, right? So moving on to our next news, I do want to share with you something. And Kiplo Bluto, I'm not sure if you're here in April. On April 19th, I shared an article on my live stream, right? I was saying that the Ethereum Foundation has reserved non-crypto asset to 19%, okay? Just in case of a greater safety margin in the effort to protect it against a downturn in the crypto market. And today, looking at this, when I post this article, Ethereum was trading at 3,000, right? Today, Ethereum has lost 50% of its value and is trading at 1,500. So basically what it means is that when these really smart people start making moves, when they disclose their holdings, it is important to pay attention to that, because they might have more data, they have more understanding of the macros market, and they might be well positioned, right? So that's what I wanted to share with you, and that's why I do these daily updates, so that we are in tune with what is happening this week in the market and we are well informed, right? if some people think buy the dip opportunities here and they're looking at really long term, these volatile could be a buy the dip opportunity, right? If assuming it falls, but if it goes up, then we have yet to see. So next news, inside the crypto bot goes to have Telegram. So this is an article from Decrypt. It's very interesting. It's so funny. Like, so basically it talks about the screen cap of this journalist in this Telegram chat. And it seems that a lot of humans have left this chat, right? Because crypto market is very quiet. And these bots, right? These Telegram bots are actually chatting with each other. So it is so funny. Like, it is a nonsense bot chatting with each other. So this is the article about this. So super funny. People were talking like, look at the spot, right? When will Bitcoin recover? Another bot say, I hope it will turn green. Pray. And then another says, good night, right? So it is very funny that these bots are talking to each other. Next news, Voyager rejects Alameda buyout offer as it harms customers. According to Voyager, they decided to reject Alameda's offer to kind of bail out them, right? So this is the news about it, right? So Sam Bankman-Fried, tweeted like a long thread about it, like saying that, hey, this is our view and stuff like that. But this is, it's interesting to see, Voyager's team saying that, hey, this bailout proposal in general is not beneficial to our user, right? Because it is also very predatory, right? So hopefully, people involved in the Voyager exchange could soon one day get a resolution. Okay, so this is a news update. So moving on to NFT news, I'm requesting the transition, okay? So NFT news, I talked about NFT World, how Minecraft decided to no longer allow them to use the game. So what happened is that NFT World came up with an announcement. They would create a new game and platform based on many of the core mechanisms of Minecraft without being a rewrite of some open source Minecraft clone. At the same time, Time announced that there will be a collection of 5,000 editions available on OpenSea for 0.10 ETH. So I think there's an upcoming collection. ENS Domains partnership with Hobby. Soulbound token, yeah, you cannot sell the token and then you can, it's tied to your wallet, right? So next news is that, so basically a lot of crypto news. NFT news. NFT, I think this is an interesting news. So a while back, Yuga Labs is gonna sue Wider Webs for copyright infringement. But it seems like a law firm, Scott plus Scott, alleged Yuga Labs promoted a chance a huge return on investment to unsuspecting investors, right? So this law firm is trying to start a class action lawsuit against Yuga Labs for people who probably lost money from ApeCoin and also probably who bought this Yuga Lab related NFTs. So it's interesting to see these type of headlines. So we have yet to see if whether, because they're trying to allege that the H token is like a security, right? And it will be interesting to see if the SEC is going to step in to say anything, whether, and things like that, right? So next news, hacker pocket 1.1 million after stealing from music streaming protocol Audius. So basically an hacker changed some governance related stuff in Audius, a DAO, and then they created a vote to siphon funds from the DAO, and then they siphoned the funds, and then after that the tokens have a market value of 6 million, but then they were only able to extract 1.1 million because of the high slippage. Okay, so it basically means that the liquidity isn't really up there. Okay, so this is what happened. Okay, and then next news. Today I found out that Martell is actually entering the Sandbox, right? So I saw this, but it's interesting because this is actually an ad from Martell, right? So they're saying that, hey, they are coming to Sandbox. They will have the Martell experience in Sandbox, right? But interestingly, what I found out is that, look at this post, right? This post was posted in July 13th. So if you look at Mattel's organic post, right? In July the 13th, they haven't really posted this, right? They didn't show this post up. So what they did is that they actually run this post as an advertisement targeted at people interested in Web3. So what it really tells me is that Martell is trying to reach out to a new market segment that is not related, that is related to Web3. But at the same time, they do not want to use this to target the existing market segment, the existing followers, right? So that's why I think that it's really interesting to, first of all, they're entering the metaverse. But number two, given the discrete nature of how they announce it, it's not easy to balance the idea of innovating and reaching out to a new customer base compared to retaining existing customers, right? So it is interesting to see, because I'm from a marketing and advertising background, right? It is interesting to see how these brands are, really approaching the crypto market without alienating the existing market, right? So I'll find the news today. Today I was trying to export my thumbnail on Photoshop, I found out that actually now you can export your images with metadata, with your wallet's metadata to prove the authenticity of your NFT. So I shared this on my Twitter, how to use content credentials beta on Photoshop for NFTs. So what happened is that right now you can connect your MetaMask wallet, and then when you export your art, the metadata of your MetaMask data, ID would be included in the art if you mint it as an NFT, and then exchanges like OpenSea, Super Rare, Wearable, Non-Origins would be able to see that and then say that, hey, this is from the legit artist wallet, right? And interesting, if you look at this, they're planning to issue this for Phantom in the near future. So another thing for Solana NFTs. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Sorry I'm starting the show earlier today. I have a meeting later this evening, but I hope you enjoyed this and stay safe in your trading. This Thursday, no live show, but in between I'll try to do a live show. Thank you for watching. This is your host, Non-Fungible TC, signing out.